What's up, my beloved? Yo, this is your girl Tracy Philippa, and this is season 2 of Purpose Sisters Joyrides. Happy New Year, y'all. We are in 2023, and I believe that God is just about to start it off with a buying in every area. So I just pray that all of your dreams come true this year. I pray that God shows himself to be the abundant Father that he is. Gold and silver belongs to God, and that means if you are joint heirs with Christ Jesus, it belongs to you also. Anyhow, y'all, this is episode 1. And like I said, I feel like God has really blessed my life with my first guest. But before we get into that, your Purpose Sisters Joyrides is sponsored by Donnie Licious Cakes. They are located in Nassau, Bahamas. The number is 431-7216. And y'all, they make the absolute best cakes, if I should say so myself. But y'all, today's first guest is a pastor. He has came into my life in one of the most mysterious ways. I've met him through one of my close friends, and y'all, he has just become one of my favorite people. Like, literally one of my favorite people. He is so down to earth, so humble. I love his spirit, and y'all, he is the youngest pastor that I know. He is the youngest pastor that I know, and it's just like weird for me because I know me and I know how crazy I am, and it's like I can't picture pastor in the church at my age, which is 16, but to be pastoring at 25 is like absolutely mind-blowing to me. And the dedication and the commitment, that he has to his calling, and the way he is able to reach so many people at such a young age, it inspires me beyond words. So y'all, this is episode 1, season 2. Let's go. And we are here. We are here. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I am good.
Hello, everybody. Happy holidays.
I know, right? Being a whole
new year.
A whole new... Yeah.
Let's just hope January spins too fast, right?
I don't know. I like January. January actually is normally a good month for me.
It takes a long time to get through. I'm over it already.
It's day 3. Really? Y'all, this is my wonderful guest, Pastor
Cameron Rolle.
Don't forget the junior.
Junior the second.
The junior the second?
The second.
Wow. So I got Starbucks.
Thank you.
Your caramel frap. I said I'm gonna try something new today. I normally get hot. I'm
really?
I'm like a hot person.
Even in the heat.
And I was thinking that maybe that may not make too much sense today.
Probably won't.
So I was like, no, let me just get something cold. But I don't know. I think I'm still living with a little bit of regret. I like hot coffee. I don't know.
I mean, it has his moments.
I would drink hot tea or hot coffee in 100 degrees. I would yeah.
It's a no. It's a no.
I think that is something that, like, my dad was a hot tea drinker. So
really,
yeah, like he didn't really like too much cold anything. So maybe I got it from him.
Probably.
I don't know, but I'm so happy I was on time for you today.
Are you normally late?
No, but
It's 1 o'clock on the dot.
but I'm not the best driver. And so I almost lost my license plate going to get the coffee.
Really?
So I had to go find something.
How do you lose your license plate?
Because I drive too far up on the stoppers.
So it ripped it off.
So yeah, and so I had to go so I'm gonna tell on myself. So I had to get like one of the disposable masks, and I had to cut the strings off
To hold it onto the bumper?
to hold it on.
Wow. So did you like rip the nail and everything off?
I think it was just it was on with this was probably faulty, faulty
Wow.
word, but it was on with zip ties.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got you.
It was just like pluck.
Yep. So once it ripped it, that was it.
Yeah, So yeah, that's me. I am not the best driver. I wouldn't say I paid for my license. That's wrong.
So,
But
so how did you attain your license?
okay, so I was 19, right? And I had started my new job, and I got a new car. But I got a new car and I didn't have a license, right? And the first 2 times I went to do the driver's test, I failed. And I was like...
So you got discouraged?
No, I didn't get discouraged. I got innovative. So I was like, you know what? My uniform carries a little bit of power. And so on my day off,
Are you all hearing this story?
on my day off, I put on my whole uniform and I go and take the driver's test again. And when they saw me in the uniform, they was like, just give it to
Just
her.
pass. So it's safe to say your license is regrettable.
Yeah. Yes, actually. I think I've made up for it over the last 12 years though.
It was a gain without a test.
Limited accidents. My first car, that was
limited. It's like less than 2.
in this car, or I've had 3 cars.
You all hear this?
This car, I have not hit any person.
And we're praying that you never hit it.
Yeah,
What do you mean? Hold on, wait.
I mean,
Hold on. What do you mean this car? You've never... Are you saying to us that you've hit
another car
persons
before?
in other cars? I think we should change the topic. For the sake of not giving too much information. I would tell you what color car it is so that you can avoid...
I've gotten a lot better. Yes. So I've probably not been in an accident in about 8 years. 8, 9 years.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's good. Now my first car, I probably was in like 4. But I think at least 2 were not my fault.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
The reason why the first car, that actually had to go, to glory, because I was driving on the airport road, and someone decided to bank the curve on my side of the street, and they kind of clipped me, and my car went spinning, and I ran straight into the bush and I hit a tree.
Oh wow.
The funny thing is, I got charged with being in the wrong.
Oh really?
Yeah, the person didn't even stop. And I was like, so who told on me? The tree? I didn't.
Wow.
Yeah, that's...
It's an interesting story. But we're declaring no accidents.
No
in this
accidents
car
or incidents.
at all. And she's letting people out.
Yeah, man, it's been good. Maybe, so the funny thing is, we are super spiritual, stuff like that, right?
Mhm.
But some people are spiritual on the next side.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. The weird side.
that particular car, my first car, I got it from the lot, right? It was a second-hand car, but somebody's ashes were in the back.
Hold on.
Somebody's ashes were in the back. Here are the remains of so-and-so.
What? How did you deal with that? Did you throw it away for them? Did you discard it?
Well, I'm sure I did throw it away.
You did throw it away?
seeing that the car came from Japan, I was, almost 100% sure that that person would not be able, I would not be able to locate
Absolutely not.
the person who's,
Wow. Obviously, they were in Joyrides.
Why would you have somebody's ashes in the back trunk of the car?
That would be so spooky.
Well, yes, I've had some interesting run-ins with vehicles, and yeah. So
I would never want to run into that experience.
What?
Ashes.
Which one?
No,
With the ashes?
Neither of the experiences that you just shared for the past 5 minutes.
It's not that bad. It was safe to say I've had, some weird experiences with vehicles. Amen. And I've grown, and I think I've earned my license at this point. So, hopefully road traffic don't watch
this. You should have told me that story before you picked me up, so that I could have had a choice.
But amazing. I couldn't tell you the story because you probably wouldn't get in the car.
We're like, let's just record this outside. Let me drive. Let's just switch up the show a little bit.
Oh, gosh. All right. Here we go. Well, see, now this is safe because we're parked.
Very safe. I can even talk better now. This is actually really good.
It's good. Mine is toffee nut. But I normally get almond milk. Clearly, it's not a vegan situation because there's whipped cream on top. But it's okay. So before you came in the car, I was introducing you, and I was telling them that you are the youngest pastor that I know.
Unfortunately.
So tell us about that. Where do you pastor? And how did you get there?
Okay. Long story short, guys. So, actually, I have to tell them the backstory. I never intended to pastor. It was like a desire as a young child, Grew up in a Christian family. Hey, I want to be a pastor. Never intended to pastor. But I think the more you grow and mature in this journey, you realize that it's not about your way or your will. And I remember last year, I got at least 4 consecutive words that the Lord was going to call you to shepherd the sheep. I rebelled. I was like, they miss God. It was not so. And I remember my pastor, he said, listen, I'm transitioning. The Lord told me that you're the campus pastor of Revival. It's time for you to take it over. It's time for you to lead it. Couldn't fight anymore after I resisted for so long. Couldn't sleep. Got more prophetic words. Got dreams. Got all those stuff. And in on June the 17th, I was ordained as the campus pastor of Revival Bahamas.
Wow.
We actually celebrate 3 years on this upcoming Friday. It's been a journey. It's been a journey.
That is crazy. I credit our good friend Trey, because that's where I met you the first time at his birthday.
Yes.
Trey has actually been like, it's this little connector.
Yeah, he has.
I've noticed that. I'm like,
you meet a lot of people through him.
Yes. And I was like, I think one of the first times I've ever really witnessed you in your zone was definitely the Groan. I think that would have been in 2021. At that was First Baptist
Church. Oh, you were there?
Yes, I was there.
Wow.
I was there. Yeah, you didn't know me then, but I was there.
That was actually, First Baptist Church was in the ending of 2021. December.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Because I think, there is definitely like this hunger for God amongst young people now. And they are like really straying away from that traditional, church environment. And so when I came there, that was like the first time when I really witnessed like, hold on, like this different level.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
like a
yeah.
powerful environment. It's like let loose, you know what I mean? It's like let God do whatever he wants to do. If you want to be on the floor, if you want to jump up and down, if you want, and that is and that is actually, you know, I live two different, I feel like I live two different spiritual lives. Because I'm very reserved
Got you.
at my
and then
home
you know how to
church.
be very, very. I got you.
And then,
got
you know, I'm
I got
like,
you. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they're like,
Well, you can jump now. I've seen you. I was like, wait a minute.
I can jump
A
up and
whole
down,
leap.
jump up and down, fall on the floor. and I like the fact that
Yeah.
those environments allow you the freedom
Yeah.
to just
It's diversity.
do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You know, I like it's something that I crave. Like I tell, like literally say to people now, it's like on a Friday night or something. It's either I'm doing two things. It's either I'm mothering or I'm worshiping.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's just
Yeah.
that's actually an environment that I strive. I thrive in that type of environment. And
Yeah.
you know, so when I saw it, I was like, how is this young man
Yeah.
drawing these young people? How is this atmosphere so powerful? I'm like, it's something that is
Yeah.
it's addictive, to be
Yeah.
honest with
Yeah.
you.
It is. It
Like when you
is.
get the first dose of something like that, you be like,
Yeah. Gotta have some more. Yep. Yep.
I gotta
Yeah.
stay in
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
in this thing. How were you like nervous
As it relates
to like pastoring?
Oh, of course. I still have fears. I still every now and again ask the Lord, why me? You know. But no, it's very fearful. Being someone young, pastoring, you don't see this dynamic in the Bahamas at all. I'm pretty sure you have a lot of international views, but you don't see this dynamic in the Bahamas at all. It's just a lot of old pastors. You have to wait until for the chain of a command. Got to get a certain age, and so there's a lot of fears that I have. Actually, I'm being honest with y'all. There's a lot of fears that I have pastoring, but I think for me, the grace comes in me knowing that God would never ever lead me to destruction.
Yeah.
So, got a lot of fears, y'all, plenty. But I'm not without grace.
That's it. I think that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing. Like when you know God called you to do something,
Yeah.
then He's already equipped you.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to have to worry so much.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, first of all, like if you think you ask God,
Yeah.
why? I'm
Yeah.
like, Father, you know my rap sheet. Why?
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 So many other persons.
Like, you know, there's like 6 billion people in the world.
And then our excuses is I haven't even lived yet. Just 20.
Well, mine, I think I live too much.
Oh, no.
I look at it like this. There are some people who are, you know, like in the parable of the prodigal son, they're the sons that have been with the father the entire time, and then there's the one that went out and did the most, and I'm the one that went out and did the most foolishness. I'm the prodigal, and so now that I'm back, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, so a part of being, you know, on fire for God, a part of answering the call of God on your life is being transparent, you know. And I always tell people, you really don't know the goodness of God until you know the entire story. Because if I don't tell you just how deep down in the pit I was, you do not understand how high He has brought me.
Yeah.
You know?
Wouldn't make sense to you.
You know, and I've had like, there is this, because I've had like older people, you know, in the church and stuff like that. You know, they're like, you don't have to tell that part of the story. I'm like,
It's my testimony.
we overcome by the word of our testimony.
Word of our testimony.
And the thing is, like, we have so many people who are in the church and who are dealing with the same things, but the same that same reason, because they don't have the freedom to express themselves, they can't really get the help that they need, you know? And so that's why I'm kind of like just extremely free. Because I just finished my book. That's called Adult
Can't
Gene.
wait to read.
You know, it's funny. I cry every time I read my own book.
Really? How much times have you read it?
I've had to read it 6 times.
That's a lot. And you cried every time. It's a powerful story, though. Like, when you really read your story, it hits
like,
differently every single time.
Who is this? And having to write from where I was really down and out to this point now, it's like, oh my God, okay, I'm actually a changed person.
Yeah.
This is new.
Yeah.
This is new. But one of the things that God has told me is that, Tracy, in order for me to expose you, you have to expose yourself. And I'm like,
come on.
You sure? I literally was in prayer. And that's the thing, because when you did the groan, I did a post on Facebook the other day, and I said that when I was sitting in the room, God was like, don't worry about anyone saying anything to you, but every word in here belongs to you. And I remember you getting a word, and I don't remember who said it to you, but they said that you are going to go into a season of consecration.
I remember that.
Yes. And December 26th, God was like, I need you missing for 100 days. I was like, excuse me? He's like, yeah, I want you missing.
Wow.
I want you on a vegan diet. You're not to eat any fast food. You're not to go on any outings. The only place you can go.
That's an extreme
It was,
consecration.
when I said, it was like.
Radical consecration.
I was like, God, I'm back in 2020?
Yeah.
Like, the whole world open and I'm on lockdown. And that 100 days was like ridiculous. Like there was a time, like we're on Montague, and during that 100 days, I was like in this place of worship and everything, right? And I went to go make an errand, and I ended up out here. And when I came out here, there was this lady laying on the ground face down by a car, this Caucasian lady. And I was like, what on earth is happening right now? Because first of all, I don't even come out here. I live in the West. But he led me out here, and this lady was on the floor, face down, bloody. This isn't
really.
This was like no one would touch her because we still in COVID, and it was something to me. Like I went on the ground with her. I lift her up. I put her on my lap, and I started to talk to her. And she was unresponsive. She wasn't speaking to me at all or anything like that. But she was breathing, right? So we called the paramedics, let them, like, something's going on with this lady. And I started to pray for her. And as soon as I started to do that, her eyes opened. She was like, why are you doing this? I was like, what? She's like, can you please let me die? Like, can you please just let me die?
Wow.
And I was like, let you die? So I started to pray over, and I started to speak to her. And she was like, you don't understand. Like, I'm such a horrible person. I just want to go in the water to die. And then I realized, oh, she was trying to commit suicide.
Wow.
And I sat there, and it reminded me of that place I was in 2020, where I was like, I had completely messed up. I had screwed up my life.
Yeah.
And I felt like sometimes I felt like maybe this doesn't even make sense. Like, why am I even here? Like, I'm sure my son could have a better mother. I'm sure my ex-husband could have a better wife. Like, I'm sure, like, why am I here?
Yeah.
And that was the moment God was like, and this is why I called you. I was like, so I think like all of us have that pivotal moment where you're like, okay, I surrender now. Like,
yeah. I always tell people, like, God doesn't choose us or use us because we're perfect. If perfection was the standard, then he would never use anybody. But whenever God can find a vessel that is willing and yielded, I tell people all the time, I'm not pastoring because I'm perfect. I'm pastoring was because God was looking for a yes and he found one in me, right? And so this whole like thing that we've done where we feel like we have to clean up ourselves and come to God, that is like one of the worst things that you can tell anyone, because what Jesus encourages us to do is, listen, don't try to clean yourself up. Let me clean you up and I'll make you perfect, you know? But we try to do it in our own strength. But he doesn't look for the perfect, because that would disqualify all of us.
Oh.
But he looks for the yielded and the posture.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. And it's like, I also have to remember sometimes, like, okay, Tracy, you have to know that not everybody's gonna like you.
Yeah, of course.
And not everyone is going to
agree
with how you do things, what you say. You know, I remember it was weird, and I'm sure you could attest to this. But I was talking to a guy he's like a borderline atheist. He really doesn't believe in anything, right? And we were having a conversation, and you know, he was letting me know how he felt, and I was telling him what I believe, and we were just having like this healthy dialogue. It was amazing, right? Here comes this person who is a Christian, who then attacks everything that I'm saying.
Really?
And in that moment, God was like, okay, that's what I needed you to see. Your resistance actually is not going to come from the world.
It's going to come from the same people.
I'm like, And he's like,
yep.
That's actually what happens.
The journey. Yeah. We fight against our own.
And I'm like, God, how am I going to do this? How am I going to handle it? He's like, no. He's like, just continue to be true.
Yeah.
Continue to be true and continue to do what I tell you to do. And at the end of the day, we have to remember that we're no better than Christ. We're not better than the disciples. We're not better than the first apostles. Because all of them, like, we actually have a very, very easy Christian life compared to them on the next side of the world.
Jesus has paved the blueprint,
Because we ain't hiding in caves.
We're not.
That's something.
We're not.
And then we hear, and then I laugh and I hear believers like, the persecution.
What?
And I don't want to be a part of the strongest warrior. I'm like.
And what we call persecution is like people talking about us. Paul said that's light afflictions. Like,
I'm having
little WhatsApp group, they're talking about me. That is nothing that could be compared. Let's look at John the Baptist. Let's look at how he died.
Yeah, with his head on a platter.
You talked about people was put in boiling oil and all of these stuff, and we call person. We gotta grow up.
Yeah.
We have to grow up.
Yeah. I think, and I think, like, I always say, like, if we were faced with those type of situations, would we still stand for him? You know, we read the Bible and we, you know, be like, Peter denied him. I would never do that. Or
but
doubting Thomas, and I'm like,
it's easy to say when you're not staffed with some level of persecution, or you're not put in the face of that thing.
All of you already know the end of a story. Like,
and you know, that's why, like, if thinking about it, that's why I have such a great honor for the older generation, because they had such a resolve that, listen, if I die, let me die. Our generation today, maybe we can find another way around this.
Yeah. but which is weird, because we know that death, physical death, is a part of life. That's not anything that any of us can avoid.
No.
And it baffles me sometimes how believers are so afraid of death, which for me, it makes me question, do you actually believe that there's another life after this?
Yeah, we're just passing through. And you know, if we keep that revelation before us that we don't live here, we are in it, but not of it. Then it makes our expectation for eternity even greater.
It does. I think, like, going through like the death of my dad last year, that was something that actually helped me with that.
Yeah.
Because I was literally, like, God would speak to me so clearly. I remember I was just washing the dishes and I was just minding my own business, and he started to speak to me about the things that he wanted to do in my life, and he said, well, your dad has to die first. I was like, excuse me? Where did I come from? And just as he said, 2 months later, my father passed away. And I talking about it wasn't a situation where he was gravely ill or anything like that. He battled with diabetes, but he just came over because he lived on the island. He came over just to do a procedure on his foot. We were like driving around delivering cakes. We was eating the bush cook. We was having a ball.
Yeah.
But the Holy Spirit was like, no, this is your last time you're gonna spend with him. Make sure he's comfortable. So I went and I got an Airbnb, all these different things. I was preparing, knowing that this is what he's saying to me. And he had to remind me, he said, you know, he's mine, right? He's like, you do know that he is mine.
Yeah.
Like, I need you to get that through your head, because you're going to have to brace on me when this happens. But I need you to know that he belongs to me. Like, the frail father that you have right now is not going to be the person who he's going to be in a few days. And I'm like, God? Okay. And within a week and a half after that, he was gone.
Wow.
He was gone. And I remember having to sign for them to do an autopsy on him, because his death was like unexplained. They were like, what happened? They're like, he only came in here for this. What we came in here for was actually working. How did his body deteriorate like this? But we knew. So I remember I went when they called me and said he passed, and I went and I came back in my car, and I've never worshiped God like that. Like, I've never praised God like that. One, because he was true to his word. But he comforted me in that. And he said to me, I remember a few days before he died, he said, I need you to pray for your father from the crown of his head to the soles of his feet. And I did that. And as soon as I finished praying, he was like, and in death I will restore him. And I was like, Jesus. So when it happened, I had that peace to know that he is with the Lord.
Yeah.
And I will see him again. And it's not just something that someone said to me or I heard. It was what I was actually experiencing at that time.
Thinking about it, like, if there's literally a reward in death, right? A lot of times we see death as this bad thing, but let's just alone look at what we gained by way of Jesus' death. That was a reward in his death, you know? And so I think this conversation here, it gives you a perspective shift that death isn't always a bad thing for those in Christ.
Yes.
I mean, as a matter of fact, it isn't a bad thing at all.
Yeah.
You know, because we gain something after this life.
Yeah. I think
that's interesting.
As a believer, even when I do my videos or when I lead a conversation about faith at my church, and I never lead the conversation with sin, because I realize that me telling somebody they are horrible is not going to,
and it's not the solution either.
It's not gonna bring them to Christ. But having an understanding that your loving Father actually never designed hell for you. He wants to be with you. He wants to have a relationship with you, because he has loved you from the beginning. And it's like, because that's what I feel. You know, from the minute I got, I gave my life to God and things like that, that level of condemnation that I had left. You know, he was like, no, you are mine. And I'm going to show you how to live. And just like how you said, we don't come to God clean. But he perfects us.
He cleans us as we go.
Because when I got saved, I was still drinking. Like, Jack and Coke was my favorite. My favorite, right?
We all had that one thing that we held on to a lot. Yes. Take some time.
Like, everything else, like, I was able to kind of stop instantly, right? But the drinking and, like, the going out with my friends was something that I gradually had to leave over time.
Yeah.
And it took one incident though
Really?
to like shut
Actually
me up,
turned the whole thing around.
because I was having a whole lot of fun on my birthday. And we had gone to like this lounge, right? And I was very, very, like, when I say extremely early in my walk, and I had literally just started the TikTok, and I was, having fun with my friends and my family. It was only us in the entire place, right? So I'm having a good time. When I wake up the next morning, look on WhatsApp, bunch of snaps with me dancing and having a good
that night. Is this the Christian I'm saved person?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
With the drink in hand and everything, right? And I was so angry.
Wow.
And I was like, because it was literally only me and the friends. There was
Right,
no one
right,
else in the
right,
place. I couldn't blame anybody else.
But the friends.
And I was about to message my friend, like, why would, and God was like, don't you dare message her. He said, because if you weren't doing that, she would have nothing to post. This is not about her.
Well,
I was like,
well,
okay. Like,
well,
and that was the last time.
yeah.
Like, that was like,
Don't spoil your witness.
No.
Come on. Wow.
no.
Don't God do that.
But,
He'll take away the very thing you love.
yeah.
Wow. That's interesting though. I had like similar stories as well. Because like I said, we all have like this one thing that we always hold on to. When we talk about, okay, God, I give you my life, but I don't know if I'm ready to give you this part yet, And I always tell people, whenever there's a but, what it really says is that you've not fully given God full authority.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think people understand, like, when you come in, this kingdom is no longer about your way or will. If you have an option, then you're not really fully engrafted into this thing. He takes away your ability to choose. We don't understand that. We have free will. Yes, we have free will, but in the kingdom, there's only one will.
One will. And if you find yourself in a position where you could choose, it's normally a test.
It's normally a test. Yeah. What would you do?
It's normally a test. I think I completely had one of those, like,
I had plenty.
tests the other day, where, because I talk about how, I transitioned from, I left my job and all these different things, and a year later, after I had, did my resignation, all that stuff, a year later, come to find out that there was no resignation letter on my file. I was still employed, and I had just gotten a promotion. And
What then do you do then?
and I was like, but he said at the end of 2021 there will be no more. And I'm like,
We're here again.
why?
Yeah.
Why is this being presented to me? And
Yeah.
in that moment, and this is how I knew that I was just sold out. Because in that moment I was like, that's not a part of the plan. Like, I'm glad that this is how you guys think about me, but this is not a part of the plan.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. But
Wow. This is interesting.
this is God.
Many persons would not have passed that test. I'll tell you that.
I didn't want to pass it,
I'm pretty sure.
but it is what it is.
I'm pretty sure.
All right, let's take a break because this camera about to die.
Yeah, so obedience would be the greatest advice that I would give to anyone. Just obey. Here's why. Because humans' ability is limited, right? So a lot of times when God requires or he asks something of us, we don't understand it because in our humanity, our knowledge is limited. But whenever God gives us an instruction, he always speaks to us from the future. He always speaks to us from from eternity. So really, if God tells me to do something, he's telling me to do something knowing that, listen, I'm speaking to him because I'm trying to get him to the future where I am, And so obedience is the greatest advice that I would give to you. Your human ability, if you logically try to think about it, it'll never make sense. I can tell you, most of the things that I've done don't make sense, if not all. And so obedience to God, you will lose people.
Yeah.
But who do you esteem more? Do you esteem the voice and the call of God greater than the talks and the opinions of man? That would be something that will root you and ground you.
I think my favorite verse of all time, it'll always be Jeremiah 1:5. Before I was formed in the belly, he knew me.
Yeah.
Before I came forth out of the womb, he sanctified me and ordained me. And I that is the thing that actually keeps me grounded, knowing that he knew me before anybody else knew me. And because of that, his plan for me must be better than anybody else's plan for me. By far.
He's the creator.
Yeah.
Only God, only Jesus has the blueprint for my life.
Yeah.
Anything outside of that I cannot trust. Not even my own ability. Because think about it. We've all come into this new year with our vision board, with our goals. But the reality is, if you did not write them with him, then you're going to find yourself in a cycle, and a lot of stuff will be incompleted. And then even too, with that, God interrupts our plans. So I always encourage people, like, I know we're coming into the new year, everybody's doing a vision board, but don't waste time. Just do it with him to avoid interruptions.
That is true.
Just do it with him.
I've learned, I hosted a vision board party last year, and one thing that I've learned throughout the year is that God's vision is not a 12-month vision.
No.
So I said to myself, I said, if you have accomplished everything on your vision board for 2022, then the vision was too small. The vision was too small. And so now I've gone into this new year, the same vision.
Yeah.
New year, same vision.
Just building upon it.
I think sometimes we don't understand that one word from God could last you the rest of your life.
The rest of your life. I don't need another word.
I don't need another word.
To build upon what you already told me. Everybody's trying to do something new. No, you need to build upon what he's already said.
Yeah, that is where I'm at. And I think of a lot of us, especially as believers, we need to, come out of that temporary, like everything is so, we want everything right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, honey, boo, you have $10 on your account and on your vision board, you have a multi-million-dollar business. Do you think that that was going to happen in these last 12 months?
Let's talk about what is your practical financial plan. You don't even properly steward what you have. Why do you think he would? Anyhow, it's your show.
Exactly. I think I'm definitely going to do a show on stewardship and finance. But and that is the thing. I firmly believe, and I tell people, when you are faithful over the little, God will start to entrust you with more things. One of the examples that I made is that I'm a compassion sponsor. I have a soft spot for children, which is weird because I don't even.
No, don't say that. Y'all just totally don't even.
I would finance the kids.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably because I have a 5-year-old.
Probably.
Yeah, he drives me wild, and I love him. But I have a passion for kids and taking them out of poverty. And so on my vision board, I have 10 kids, right? Now, I know how much that is a month, and that's not some place where I'm at the present moment, but that's on my vision board. And I started the vision board, and I had one. By the time I ended last year, I have 3. I have 3 sons. And so I know that, okay, I have those 10 children on my vision board. That's going to take time for me to build to that point, And I'm like, that's how we have to look at everything on our vision board. That everything is a process. That everything, we do it step by step by step. And it's just something that I'm experiencing, and I'm loving it. Like I'm loving the growth at this point.
It's a journey.
Yeah.
And the reality is the journey was designed to teach us lessons.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why it's a journey. God doesn't want us to get anywhere too quickly. Because then we'll abort the lessons that we're supposed to learn in that season.
Yeah. That's how I look at these last 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, okay. I had to go through every single step that I went through in these last 3 years to get me to this point. Because if he had started to bless me the way he blesses me now, right then, I would actually think I was being rewarded for my behavior.
Yeah. You're right. Right.
And everybody else would have think so too. Like,
Okay.
that's really,
She getting these stuff and she's doing this. Maybe let me do the same thing as well.
you know?
Yeah.
And so, I'm learning to be patient in the process, to remain in Him.
Yeah.
You know, not to get weary in well doing, even when things seem hard.
Yeah.
Because it gets hard sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, I love my relationship with God. I think it's the most precious thing on the face of this earth. But I will tell you, there are going to be moments where you be like,
Yep.
Daddy. But I think even in that, it teaches us how to rely on Him, how to depend solely on Him. Like when you get to the point where you're like, Daddy,
You see me?
I still heal.
Yeah.
Please. Because He would literally use those moments to grab you to Himself.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we get comfortable. When things get easy, sometimes we get comfortable. Sometimes our prayer life changes.
Yeah, it
sometimes
changes.
we're not as consistent as we need to be with our relationship. And sometimes we need a reality check.
We do.
So.
We do. Yeah, I think that's. I was talking to someone earlier, and I was telling them, I was like, a lot of times we think God's silence is His absence. His silence isn't really His absence. It's some lessons we have to learn on our own.
Yeah.
Right. And I told them on watch night, sometimes we are so accustomed to praying storms away that we don't understand God's trying to teach us a lesson in the storm. God didn't need to take Shadrach and Meshach and Abednego out of the fire. He could have just taken the heat out of it.
Yep.
And they learned the lesson. What is the lesson? To trust God even until death.
Yep.
And so if we start to view storms as a way to learn a lesson, we'll stop cursing it. A lot of us that pray, okay, God, take this storm away, we're really cursing God's hand. Yeah. Because it's God that sent the storm.
Yeah.
All storms aren't from the devil.
I've learned that. I've definitely learned that. And I've learned to embrace them.
Yeah.
And okay, what am I supposed to be learning in this? Because the quicker I learn what I'm supposed to learn in this,
the quicker you get to the next level.
You know?
There's no next except you master the now.
Yes. That's exactly what it is.
That's why a lot of us, we're stuck in the same thing, is because we haven't learned the lesson of the now. God's trying to teach us the lesson of the now. Everybody's trying to get to the next, but nobody wants to master the now.
No.
And what type of father would allow us to go to the next level except we first master where we're at?
Yeah.
Would a good father allow us to go to the next level unprepared? No, he won't.
No. Because he wants you to be able to sustain what it is he wants to give you at that next level.
Yeah.
You know, we even with kids, we know there are certain things they just don't appreciate.
Yeah. At
certain ages.
Yeah.
You know, I have a 5-year-old and I have bought him, it's silly, but I have bought him remote control cars, from he was 3.
Wow.
And between 3 and 4, they would end up in the tub with him. He doesn't understand that those things can go in water.
Into water, yeah.
So he destroys them.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with us. It's literally the same thing with us. Being a parent has showed me so much. I'm when I look at him, I'm like, this is how God looks at me. In my foolishness.
Yeah. So the way He saves us is by not taking us to the next until we master the now. Really, his inability or his inability to see us or his inability to take us to the next is really hinges upon the fact that he's protecting us.
Yep.
That's what it is.
That is absolutely true.
It's his protection.
So I feel like if you're not growing, then you have to ask yourself, what am I not learning?
Good perspective.
What am I not
What lesson
learning?
have I not mastered? Because a lot of our delay isn't God, it's us.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. That's amazing. That is amazing. Cameron, I have Pastor Cameron. Let me not get too familiar.
No, you're good.
But I really enjoyed this conversation. I think that for this, like this this generation now, like you are truly a voice and someone who is to be admired.
Thank you.
I've seen you in action and it's just been absolutely amazing, and having to, this time to like sit and talk and crack your brain a little bit has been absolutely amazing. So y'all, this has been episode 2. Like, subscribe, and share the channel. Cameron, what are your socials?
IG is Cameron J. Rolle. At Cameron J. Rolle. Facebook is Cameron J. Rolle, the second, I think. And then Twitter is at Cameron J. Rolle.
Awesome. And he is the campus pastor for Revival U, located in Nassau. Y'all, they have their Facebook, Instagram as well.
Revival U Bahamas.
Amen. So y'all, that was episode 1, season 2. God bless you.
God bless y'all.